I don't know what it was because nothing was really wrong, but I guess like I learned later, it's like you deal with like the even from that like the postpartum like depression and just stuff like dealing with that is so intense. And I was like 22 years old, like 23 years old. It was insane, like the craziest thing I'd ever experienced. So then I went back to work and I was just not there mentally, like nothing to do with work. I just like, I literally didn't realize like the toll that takes on you, like as a person. So I was like, obviously I had always wanted to get like my boobs done. I'm not going to sit here and say I didn't, but I needed to go away and take time off.
Hey guys, soon gonna hear more about Cora Jade, who's now known as Elayna Black, and her time in WWE, and what caused of why her stint in WWE didn't work out. Let's check out more at the Pink Square Circle. Hey guys, we're here at the Pink Square Circle. We'll talk about Cora Jade explains her time being at WWE, and we'll talk about why Cora Jade didn't work at WWE. Get the likes as we come to the Pink Square Circle. Now, Cora Jade, we know, has recently been released from WWE. She's on a 30-day non-compete clause, and she's soon going to compete very, very soon in other independent promotions. Now, we know that she was in WWE from, 2020, 2021-ish, up to 2025. So roughly about a little more than 4 years she's been in WWE. She was in NXT, the developmental division at the time, which I don't consider NXT really developmental anymore these days, but I beg to differ. Others could beg to differ to that. Meanwhile, Cora Jade, she had her time on there. She was NXT Women's Tag Team Champion, but she never really could gain any success in WWE. Now, I know she had a lot of personal issues going on. She had one injury, and she took some time off to get some enhancements done to her body that she'll explain. She did an interview with Ariel Helwani Show, and she also talked about recently of how much the creative freedom she has enjoyed of building her own shows outside of since she's been released from WWE and TMZ Sports. But the thing about Cora Jade, I believe that all her personal issues and her injury, time in WWE, nothing could come to fruition in her time in WWE. Never got called to the main roster, never really had a real successful WWE career, as in my opinion, but she talks more about that in the Ariel Helwani interview. She talks about all the issues that she had. She talks about, her taking time off and everything else assorted in her release in WWE. Let's see what Cora Jade had to say with Ariel Helwani here.
People, I think, go back to when I got my boobs done, like the 3 months or like right before that, because I was out for like 3 months. So I was out for 3 months, and then I had only been back for like, I think like maybe a month, if that, before I tore my knee again. But it was like, I never like talked about this because I feel like it's just like a very personal thing, but like, I feel like I do want to say it because like, it's like one of those things where it's like, if you only knew what I was going through, you're pretty messed up if that's what you're saying to me. Because like, so in January of 2023, it was like the very late January, I was supposed to wrestle Lyra Valkyria on TV on Tuesday. And long story short, I'll spare you the details. Long story short, I ended up in emergency surgery in the hospital the night before, literally almost dying and bleeding out because I had an ectopic pregnancy that had failed and it exploded and like made me internally bleed. And like I was rushed into emergency surgery because I was like this close to bleeding out. But thank God I went because I literally was thinking I just have to get through the match tomorrow. Like I knew something wasn't right, but I was like, I just have to get through the match. Like I'll get through the match. And then like, I'm like bleeding. Like, and I'm like, I have to go to the hospital.
Wow.
Like, and I got there and it was like an 11-hour wait. They like told me and I was like, I can't. So then they checked me or whatever and then immediately rushed me into emergency surgery. So I dealt with that. So I was like, Jesus, like I'm going to miss.
And how does that happen?
So what had happened was I don't know if you're familiar with the IUD birth control.
Okay, yeah.
It's like it's inserted in you. It's like a 99.9% like success rate, but they warn you beforehand because it's like a 5-year thing. So you like are protected for 5 years. But they warn you of ectopic pregnancies beforehand, which if you're not or anyone else isn't familiar, it's where like the egg is implanted outside of the uterus in the fallopian tube, and that causes the fallopian tube to explode. Obviously, you internally bleed, and it's very extremely life-threatening, obviously to the baby or whatever it was, but to the woman. So I was always scared of that in general because I have health anxiety anyway, so I was always worried about that. So I kind of, again, my intuition, I was like, I know what's happening, like I gotta go. So we did that, had the emergency surgery. They ended up having to remove my left fallopian tube because it was that bad. And then I was just bummed about missing Stand and Deliver. Like I was like, I cannot miss Stand and Deliver. But then like after that, I felt like I guess nothing has ever happened like that to me before. I never realized like the effects of it and stuff like that. So like after I came back, like those few months, I was just the most mentally depressed I have ever been in my entire life. Like I remember calling like one of the WWE doctors and being like, I need to like go somewhere. Like I'm not okay. Like I'm not okay right now. Like this is not okay. And I don't know what it was because nothing was really wrong. But I guess like I learned later, it's like you deal with like even from that, like the postpartum like depression and just stuff like dealing with that is so intense. And I was like 22 years old, like 23 years old. It was insane, like the craziest thing I'd ever experienced. So then I went back to work and I was just not there mentally, like nothing to do with work. I just like, I literally didn't realize like the toll that takes on you like as a person. So I was like, obviously I had always wanted to get like my boobs done. I'm not going to sit here and say I didn't, but I needed to go away and take time off or I don't know what was going to happen to me. Like mentally I needed to take that time off. So I did that in my time off. Like that's what I chose to do. And I took that time like over those, I was out for like a month and a half. And then when I got that done, like 3 months. So like I took that time to like really get myself mentally right. I felt good. I was ready to go. Like I was so excited. I felt good, like mentally, physically, emotionally, like it was probably the best I ever felt. And then I came back and then it was like I had just went through a really bad breakup and then it was my birthday and then I tore my knee. So it was just like back to back to come back from. So like even just getting to like a month like after that and just feeling like I was in a good place, I kind of had a conversation with somebody who I won't name, but someone I kind of feel I would have had a better experience there if it wasn't for, and not Sean or Hunter or anybody. I can't praise them enough and like my time there and everything like that. But there was a conversation with somebody where I was kind of like, okay, like this is probably gonna be weird in a few months. And
okay.
It was. So
is that unsettling?
I guess, yeah, at times. Like, because I feel like I can look at it and think about like things that I could have changed or like what I could have done different. And then I guess when you think about it, like there really is nothing because I feel like I was there every day. I was cleaning up the locker rooms with Roxanne after the shows because we're from indie wrestling. Like that's what you do. Like till the day I was gone, like that's just like what you do. And I just felt like you can always look at it and think like what I could have done different. But at the end of the day, I feel comfortable in like the fact that like I got to do so much stuff. I got to do with my best friend, like so many of my best friends. And I feel confident that I like stood on my like morals and like things that I spoke up about maybe that like other people wouldn't have. Like
what?
Okay, for example, I'll say this because I did put it out there, like the body shaming stuff.
Yeah.
Like, and again, I don't want this to be bash WWE because it was my dream. Like, it still is my dream. Like, I have no doubt maybe one day in the near future I'll be there again. But it just is what it is. But I feel like, I don't know, like, thinking about, like, my dream was to be a WWE superstar. And then, like, I become a WWE superstar. And then, like, I finally, like, accomplish all these goals. I meet all these people, like, my best friends. I got to, like, me and Roxanne became, like, even closer than ever, like, doing these storylines together. I got to work with Bailey, who's, like, a hero of mine. Like, me and Punk became, like, he's, like, a mentor to me now, which I, like, grew up watching your interviews with him. Like, it's just crazy to, like, see all these things that, like, happen, and I got to do so much. So I don't want it to be, like, bash WWE at all because I'm, like, so happy with my time there. Like, really, when I think about it, like, I did so much stuff that, like, I was writing about in my notebook, like, as a kid. So, like, I'll never, like, be like, oh, my God, like, bash WWE. But, like, I definitely think things could have went differently if it wasn't for certain things, like the body shaming thing. It's like, I came in at 19 years old. I was, like, 110 pounds. Like, I was so small, and it was just constant comments, whether it was from guys who think they're being funny or, I'm not going to name names again, but I remember specifically being told that I wasn't and wouldn't be champion in that company because I looked like I couldn't crack an egg.
Wow.
Yeah. So
This is when you're kind of coming up. You're in the performance center and all
yeah,
this stuff. We just put up the tweet here because like it's kind of hard. Here it is. You're responding to someone.
yeah,
Can't forget having to go to my own gym outside of work after strength and conditioning that wasn't doing anything for me other than get me body slammed by my boss's coworkers and fans. Crazy.
yeah,
Body shamed. Excuse me.
yeah,
So like you're being told that like you need to.
yeah. Multiple conversations about my body, which
Okay.
is just I don't think anyone, especially as another man, should be saying that to a female.
Yeah.
Like, especially as I was like so young, and it created like a lot of issues for me body wise. Like, but obviously I gained so much muscle after that. Like, I worked my ass off, and then I would go to the strength and conditioning classes, which, in my opinion, are more geared towards like college athletes and like people who are coming in from college and they're like working on like just like getting into that type of strength and conditioning and stuff. It never felt like it was like doing anything for my body. So I'm like, you guys are yelling at me for how I look, but you're not really helping me out in the strength and conditioning that I need then. So then I would just go,
So that was Cora Jade going to Ariel Helwani talking about how she had a ectopic pregnancy, if I said that correctly, which nearly almost cost her life. Luckily, she was able to get the medical attention that she needed, and she went to get attention sooner, much sooner than later. And also, she had a bad breakup, which is referring to, if you guys didn't know, Cora Jade or Elayna Black used to date Braun Breaker, who's now on the main roster on Monday Night Raw. And then her injury and then her getting her enhancements done to her body. Like I said, Cora Jade just had a lot going on at that particular time. And I believe all her personal issues and her injury, I believe all that stuff going on that caused her not to focus as much as she should on her craft in WWE. And maybe she lost focus, and maybe WWE saw that, and maybe that could be a possibility. And I'm saying a possibility, it could be other factors of why she never really got pushed to the top in WWE. Well, I know she also talked more about this in her interview with TMZ Sports here as well.
such a sense of like relief almost, like just that the world is at my exposure to do whatever I want, whether it's I am going to continue wrestling, but whatever else, whatever other opportunities come after this, I'm really excited, and I feel for the first time in a while like very happy with like the present and just how life is right now.
Yeah, there's always that sense of panic, right? You've been with WWE for a long time. You're there every single day. You're going to the performance center. You're doing shows. You're training, promo classes, weightlifting, all
Yeah.
these things. That becomes your life. And then very quickly, it's not there anymore, right? And you're trying to
Yeah.
figure out what to do next and replacing that salary and income. Did this come as a shock to you at all?
Um, I feel like anyone probably has like in the company has that little inkling in the back of their head just because it is so cutthroat and cuts do happen often. So I wouldn't say that it was a shock only because I've said it before, I'm very like good with my intuition. I don't know why. I just always have been. I've always just had like a gut feeling, and then when I feel that, it just tends to happen. And I did have that gut feeling maybe like 2 weeks prior, especially when I was in Vegas for Mania. When I was rooming with Roxanne, she's my best friend, and all week I was just making sure to really like take it in and enjoy everything. I did matches at WWE World, I did promos at WWE World. We had so much fun, and I got to do it all with my best friend. But I did have that feeling that I was going to be gone soon, so I was trying to enjoy it, you know. And I remember, I think it was my last actual match. There was I wrestled Sol Ruka on a live event, and I just knew. I don't know. I just knew that it was going to be my last time there, so I just took a lot of time in my entrance. I had fun in the match. I took a long time afterwards. I signed autographs, which I never really do because I'm a heel, I'm a bad guy. So, but I knew that. I was like, well, that's a wrap. Then sure as hell it was like a week later, like that following Friday.
Well, that's awesome. You got to end it on a high note. Not everybody gets that. And of course, right now, the climate over at WWE is insane. That little inkling, that little intuition in the back of your head. Seems like there's a lot of people that might need that when you see a guy like R-Truth now leaving the
Yeah.
company, which is,
I know our truth has been. I started watching when I was 8 years old, so that was in like 2009, and he's been there, just like a consistent character and just a part of WWE. I was like, wow, that was very shocking. But I have no doubt he's gonna kill it wherever he goes to. He's great.
Absolutely. Well, hey, you mentioned R-Truth as one of your favorites. Doing a little bit of homework on you. You cited Bailey, AJ Lee,
Yeah.
Sasha Banks, now Mercedes Moné as some of your favorites. Of course, Mercedes over at AEW now doing a fantastic job there. Their match at NXT Takeover Brooklyn, I believe, was one of your favorites.
Yeah.
What's going to come next for you in wrestling? Is AEW a possibility? I know you have your first match announced for June 14th with Black Label
Yep.
Pro. What's next in the wrestling front?
Look, I have no idea. I feel like for the first time ever, I'm trying not to focus too much on the future because I feel like I maybe did a little bit too much of that and was always focused on the next thing, what's coming next, and maybe not fully enjoying it as much as I should have. And I feel like right now is like the time that I want to do that. So of course I want to. Wrestling is my life. It's for the past 16 years. It's all I've ever known. Like I dedicated my life to making it as a wrestler. So I want to wrestle and I want to wrestle permanently somewhere. Whether that call comes from AEW or if it comes from WWE again one day, I'm not sure, but I'm open to whatever. I absolutely love AEW. I've been watching it since it first started. I just love wrestling, and I feel like I've said before they have so much creative freedom, which I love. Because I love like the stories and stuff like that. So I have no idea what the future holds, but I feel like I'm not really worried about it. Like I'm just taking it day by day, and if a call comes, hell yeah. But if it doesn't, I'm focused on the day to day and other wrestling opportunities as well. Because like you said, when you're like, it's kind of hard to once you step out of that WWE world, it's almost like its own little bubble, and it feels like once you're out of it, it's like you don't really know like what the real world is like again. So it's adjusting and stuff like that. And obviously, being a WWE fan since I was 8 years old, I've only ever committed my life to making it to WWE. And now that that chapter is over, it's like kind of the weird spot where I'm like, oh, what do I do now? Like, but it's like an exciting feeling as well because now I almost feel like I accomplished a few certain dreams that I wanted to do. Obviously, there's more I always want to do, but I feel happy with what I did in my time there, especially like those last probably 6 or so months. I got to work with Bailey. She's obviously one of my idols, so that was insane. And we became such good friends over these past few years. So she just made me feel so comfortable and confident in myself. And then I became very close with Stephanie and Julia. So like all after all the shows for like those last few months of my career was just me, Roxy, Stephanie, and Julia just having a blast, like laughing and doing so much stuff together, like our matches and even just everything. Almost, it's like everything else besides the matches is what was so important to me, like all the memories we made and how close I got with all of them. And so I feel like if I could have had it end anyway, I'm glad that it ended that way.
And that's
Now, that was Cora Jade on TMZ Sports. She recently did that interview. She's talking about how she admires AEW for the creative freedom that she has. It seemed like she really would be interested in returning back to AEW. That's where she started her career in a big name company before going to WWE as her current name now, Elayna Black. Now, she also talks about, too, how she, gets the chance to book her shows and everything else. But think about Cora Jade, we got to remember she had her injury. She had a minor tweak injury with Jordan Grace and her right before she was released from WWE. Those are factors of why I think she didn't work in WWE. And we have to remember, like I said, she also had a stint in AEW already. So I don't know if she'll go back to doing that. Or is it a possibility that she may even go to TNA? Remember, Cora was on TNA while she was on NXT, bouncing back from TNA to NXT. But we have to see what happens. I wish her the best in her future endeavors. And that's all I have for Cora Jade Explains her time being WWE. You guys let me know. Do you think independence will work best for Cora? Is there reasons why she didn't work at WWE? Or are you a fan of Cora? Let me know in the comment section below. Soon a video will come out for Pink Square Circle. You guys click the link below to that video. Until then, guys, I will see you guys later.